All right, practice test number 8. Let's see what we got here. Number 1 and 2 and 3 are what we did on Monday, and those are graphing rational functions or fractions. So remember the verticals, whatever makes the bottom 0. The horizontal, you have 3 different options. If the degree on the top is bigger, there's not a horizontal. Degree on the bottom is bigger. The horizontal asymptote is y equals 0, or the x-axis. And if the degrees are the same, it is leading coefficient over leading coefficient. And don't forget the other two things. If the degree on the numerator is 1 larger, there's a slant asymptote. If you have two factors, one in the numerator and one in the denominator that cancel, then you have a hole right there. So the first one, what makes the bottom 0 is -1. So that's your vertical. Because the degree is the same up here, you do leading over leading, which is 2. Your domain then, it goes left and right. You can graph it by using your calculator. That is fine. Just copy it down and make sure you draw your asymptotes on your graph. Domain, it goes left and right forever except for the 1. Range, it goes up and down forever except for the 2. Number 2, same deal. I'll notice the top degree is 1 bigger than the bottom, so it means it has a slant. The vertical is still what makes the bottom 0, so let's do x equals 3. To get the slant, you have to do synthetic division over here. Remember, we don't care about the remainder. Whatever you have left, you start 1 degree less, which was going to be x. Y equals x plus 4. The way you graph that, you go up to 4 on the y. That's your y-intercept. The slope is 1, rise 1, 1, 1. Connect the dots. And the graph on your calculator, see where your curves are. You should have 2 curves on that one. We won't do range on that one, but your domain should be everything except for 3. Let's look at number 3 real quick. 3 is just like 2. They'll be like this tomorrow. Has a slant also because the degree is 1 larger. Vertical is what makes the bottom 0, or x is 2. Draw that on the graph. The slant, I did my divisions somewhere. I do not see it here anywhere, but I know there it is. Did the division over here. Got x minus 5. Brought it back over here. Punched it in. Domain is always the same as your vert. And draw your graph. Number 4, tomorrow, you don't have to graph this one. You can if it helps you. What I do right off the bat, though, is I would factor the numerator and denominator. And when you do that, those are going to cancel. And I think that happens tomorrow. That's what the hole is. There's a hole at x equals 1. There's still one more thing that makes the bottom 0, and that's 3. So I put x equals 3. And the domain goes left and right forever, but it skips the hole and skips the vertical. 5 and 6, yes, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5 just asks you for the LCD. So factor the denominator. Don't worry about the top. Factor both the denominators. You got 9x minus 4 and 5x minus 4. 9 and 5 both go into 45, and they both have an x minus 4, so I brought that over. Number 6, find an LCD again for 6, and so all I did is I looked at my two denominators there. 7 and 2 both go into 14. You got to bring down all the factors, x and y cubed, and look at this, and look down here, and see what it's missing. It needs a 2 and a y cubed, so I multiply the top by 2y cubed, and got that. The 2y cubed needs a 7x, so I multiply the top by 7x, and got 21x squared. Because I cannot add those together, I'm done. Number 7, same kind of problem. Find the LCD. I have a 4 and an 8 and a 10. They all go into 40. Have a y and a y squared. They both go into y squared. And look what's missing. That one needs a 10 and another y. So do the top times that. This one needs a 5y squared. Multiply the top times that. This one needs a 4. Multiply the top times that. And because I can't add anything, done so. Number 8. Start this one off by factoring the bottom. It's kind of hard to see. We did this in pencil. We did this in class today. I was using a pencil. A bit tough to see. I factored this one. I'll try to write on it, guys, but I'm not sure it's going to work very good. And I got y minus 7 right there, and I got y plus 5 right here. When I factored this one, I got y plus 5 and y plus 4. So my LCD became y minus 7, y plus 5, all the factors, and y plus 4. So I looked at the first one. This one right here was missing the y plus 4, so I did 6 times y plus 4, which is 6y plus 24. The second one was missing the y minus 7, so I did 4 times y minus 7, which you can kind of see that, 4y minus 28. So then I added my 6y and my 4y, and my 24 and my negative 28, and ended up right there with a 10y minus 4 over that big denominator that was right there. All right, so, 9 through 12 ought to be one of the better parts of the test. Multiplication division, this one's already kind of set up for you. Just reduce it. So I factored the denominator, and I used, x plus 4, x minus 2. The x minus 2 is canceled. That left me with that, and that's your answer on that one. Now, number 10, what I did, I don't like to cancel all those letters real quick because I kind of get lost in it. So I went ahead and canceled the numbers first. Like I did 4 into 16 4 times. 4 goes into 8 and 10, 4 and 5 times. Brought the numbers over, brought all my letters over. And when I brought them over, I went ahead and multiplied, like a times a is a squared. I counted my b's on the top, counted my c's, how many f's. And then I started canceling stuff, and I noticed I had an f cubed and an f cubed. I had a b cubed and a b cubed. The bigger a was on the bottom, it was 2 bigger, and the bigger c was on the top, and it was 2 bigger. So that's where that came from. Number 11, same kind of deal, except this is division. Remember, when it's got division, you got to flip it and change it to multiplication. Remember, you always do reciprocal of the second term, not the first one. And I did that. I canceled the numbers again. You can see where I did that. I just added the letters again, added our exponents. Then I'm looking to see what canceled. And the crazy thing is the x cubes canceled, the y cubes canceled. Everything cancels except the 10 and the 3. Number 12. 12 is a doozy. You have to factor quite a bit. What I did here is I factored out a 3 off the top, right there. The bottom I went ahead and factored with a 5 and a 2. Flip this one. Difference of squares there, which goes to the top, a plus 2, a minus 2. Took a 12 out there. That left the difference of squares, which is a squared minus 1. So I went ahead and factored difference of squares. And also when I took the 3 out here, that left something else I could factor. So I did that there. Then I started canceling stuff everywhere. You can kind of see that, I believe, best you can. And I ended up right there with what you can see in that box down here. All right, 13 through 16 is that's what we did today. 13, remember, tell what x cannot equal. It cannot equal -1. And also find your LCD, which is 7 and x plus 1. So I multiplied everything up there by, oh, what's it missing? This one needs a 7, I did 3 times 7. This one needs the x plus 1, I did 2 times x plus 1. The 2 needs everything. There's nothing on the bottom, so I'll multiply 2 times 7 and x plus 1. 2 times 7 is 14. That's where the 14 came from. Then I just combine stuff, move stuff, blah, blah, blah. Got 3/4. 14, same kind of problem. Factor this one first. And the cool thing is when you factor this, we got that, which happened, all day during the homework today. So the LCD, well, first of all, x cannot be 5 or -3. And my LCD is this. It's x minus 5 and x plus 3. So the 56 already has it, so I just brought it down. The 6 needed the x minus 5. The 7 needed the x plus 3. You can already see that. I'll try to put that in a little bit. And then over here, I did the distributive, 7x plus 21. Same thing here, -6x plus 30. This is hard. That'll give me -6x over here plus 86. And over here I have 7x plus 21. Then I just move stuff. I've got 65 and 13x. Solve that, I got x is 5. The problem is, though, 5 makes that denominator 0, so that means there's really no solution to 14. 15, again, the same kind of deal. X cannot equal -3 and -6. That's your LCD. The 8 needs the x plus 6. The x plus 1 needs the x plus 3. I had to do FOIL right there, which gave me an x squared, which means everything's got to come over here. I factored it, got 2 answers. They're both okay, so I kept them both. 16, another one just like we've been doing. Factor the first part. That was x minus 2 and x minus 1, which is the same thing. Over here, when I factor that 3 out, it's also x minus 1. So my LCD is 3, x minus 1, x minus 2. 5 needed the 3, so that's what changed that to a 15. Equals. The 1 needs a 3 and an x minus 1, so that's what it got. And the last one, the x plus 6, needed the x minus 2. So I did 15 equals, I distributed here, 3x minus 3. And then I did FOIL here, x squared plus 4x minus 12. Make sure you can, that's about the several times we've done FOIL today, so make sure you can do that tomorrow and feel comfortable with that. And just finish it, move the 15 over, factor what you have. I got -10 and 3. Make sure those answers are good, and they are. Okay, 17, now we're starting to review stuff. 17, 18, just find your zeros. So what I did is I made a list. You can kind of see it right here. I made a little list, punched it in my calculator. I saw 3 worked, so I tried 3, and sure enough it did. That left me with x squared plus 4. I'll move the 4 over, took the square root, gave me a 2i, plus or minus 2i. And remember, because the degree was 3, there's 3 answers, so I got 3 and plus or minus 2i. That's not too bad. 18, the same way, made a list. 18 also factors. If you want to factor by grouping, that'll work on that one too. It's your choice which way you do it. I put 3 halves in a box. That's where it crossed. It worked. That gave me 2x squared and a plus 8. So what I did is I divided by 2, broke it down to x squared plus 4, which is the same thing I had in the last problem. Moved the 4 over, take the square root. I got plus or minus 2 out. Don't forget to write your 3/2 as part of your answer. 19 just says factor. So take out an x first. That leaves this. And so I had to find factors of 30. That gives me 1 in the middle. So I got the 6 and the 5. Number 20, same deal, except this time I can take out an x squared, which I did. That left this. So I had to put a 3x and a 1x there because of the 3x squared. I have a 5. I had to put a 5 and a 1 somewhere, so I got to play with it to figure out if that's where it goes. And remember, you figure out if you're right by checking your rule. If you go outer, that's 3x. If I go inner, it's 5x, 3x, and 5x is 8x. That's how come I knew I was good. All right, whoa. 21, just describe. Oops, I can't do that. I already read. Oh my gosh, I think I messed that up. That's about the best I can do. I can remember not to move this. 21, I have an x plus 2. The plus 2 is inside, so I'll shift left 2. On 22, the 1/2. 0.5 is really 1/2, and I messed that one up. That should be a horizontal stretch, not by 1/2, but by 2, because you can always do reciprocal when it's inside. 23, complete the square. We've done this 100 times now. Move the 7 over, make it -7. Take half the middle, square it, add it to both sides. That gave me -3. Take the square root of both sides. That gets rid of the square. Put a plus or minus I on 3 because it was negative. Then just move the 2 over and you're done. Same thing on 24. Move the 13 over, change the sign. Half of 10 is 5. 5 squared is 25. Put the half inside your parentheses. Add over here is 12. Now, one thing you got to look at right here, the square root of 12 is 4 times 3. So when you break that down, you get 2. I'm trying to fix that 3. It's 2 on 3 right there. And then just move the 5 over, and you got it. 25 and 26 inequalities, this is less than, so it's and. But remember, move the 5 over first. Set up your get 9. Set up your big inequality right there. And add 2 to all 3 sides, and you got that one. 26 is going to be greater than. It's an or. Divide both sides by 4. Then set up it with an or. X minus 7 is greater than 7, or x minus 7 is less than -7. Just move the 7 over. Move the 7 over, and you got it. 27. Find the inverse. Remember, switch your x and y. Then you got to get the y isolated or by itself. So move the 7 over. Then divide by 2. And that's it. Same thing on 28. Switch your x and y. Move the 9 over. Divide by -5. And you got it. Last page. Bad news. I forgot to bring home my calculator. I know I could tell what the scatter plot was going to look like because of what the points were. I kind of did that in my head. Your scatter plot, remember on your calculator, you're going to go to stat, these are the steps, stat, calc, and you're going to look for linreg. It stands for linear regression. And then when you get your equation, I don't know what it's going to be. It may be something like, I don't know, -0.175x plus 39 points, so something like that. If it's something like that, to get your answer to 31, just take your 55, plug it in for that x, whatever you get goes right here for 31. And that's it. I know I talked really fast, but I'm going to put this where you can skip around on it and watch as much as you need to. Please make use of it. Quite a few problems. Make sure you're good. I'll be there in the morning about 8. And also we'll take some questions when you come in. So hope this helps. And I'll see you tomorrow. See you. Bye.